Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The NBA Finals edition of the Hardwood Nations podcast with your boy CL Anthony, my little white buddy Bryce Ward, and we have a special guest today, my tall white buddy Kevin Carter of the Balls in Our Court podcast. What's up, fellas?
Not much. How are y'all?
I was letting Bryce go first.
Appreciate it.
So, the Phoenix Suns have been into the NBA Finals. They punched their ticket in a few days ago. Last night, the Milwaukee Bucks punched their ticket in by defeating the Atlanta Hawks. Kevin, I'm going to start with you. What were your quick thoughts on last night's game?
It was one, Trae Young shouldn't have been out there because he was way too hobbled, but I credit him for at least giving it a shot. Other than that, it was about how you would expect it to go. It'd be close for a little bit, and then once the Bucks started heating up, then it was over. Yeah, I went to sleep.
Dude, it took me the longest time to try to stay up for that game, but I made it. I'm like, I'm getting too old for this shit.
It got so boring. When
Yeah.
the third quarter hit, I was like, oh, this crap's over. I'm not watching the fourth quarter. I got crap to do tomorrow. Oh, by the way, happy 245th birthday to America today.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, I'm too old for them to start playing these games when they play them. Let's get back to normal. But then I realized, the finals are going to be on at 9:00 at night. Yay!
Yeah, next week is going to be brutal. Hey, Bryce, let me ask you this question because I know you've been a fan of the Hawks throughout the playoffs. How do you feel about the Hawks' inability to defeat the Bucks without Giannis for the last two games?
Well, I just think it's a testament to how well the Bucks just matched up against the Hawks, and or at least nobody really. So I think they just kind of spent everything they had, basically. They just fizzled out, and Milwaukee was still able to play their style and impose their their and their size on them. And so even without Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday, they're tough defensive guys. So I think that had a lot to do and just pretty much giving it all. And I mean, to be honest, they would have that would have been a major leap over Milwaukee, where Milwaukee's been kind of building to this point for 4 or 5 years now, trying to get into the finals. So it would have, to me, taken a real leap of faith, even though I guess I believed Atlanta could pull it off after the first two, the other series. So, but I mean, kudos to the Hawks for making this because they did Trae Young to play. So it seemed like it was too much of an uphill battle for them.
One thing I'll say is that I want to give all the respect in the world to the Hawks. I do believe that had Trae Young been healthy, the Hawks probably would have won this series. They had Milwaukee scared shitless. All right, so Kevin, let me ask you this question because last night it seemed like the Bucks were gassed in the fourth quarter, and I think Atlanta pulled within 6. Do you think if Trae Young would have been a little more healthy, they could have pulled off the upset last night?
Yes.
Okay.
If he doesn't step on that rest foot, Hawks win the series. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he had bad luck. He stepped on the rest foot, like everything else that has happened throughout these playoffs. Injury decided what was going to go on. If he had just a little burst that he had earlier in the series, maybe it would have been different. But they ran out of gas. Plus, they don't have the weapons to match up with the Bucks like they should. The Bucks have the luxury of getting up by 20. They had the luxury last night of just getting up by 20 and then just trying to mosey through the fourth quarter.
Right. All right, so now we know, again, we have the Suns versus the Bucks. The Suns are going to have home court advantage. Bryce, this question is for you. How surprised are you that Phoenix is in the NBA Finals?
Like, well, compared to how we felt at the beginning of this season, very surprised. But clearly, as the season and the playoffs have went on, they have shown improved time and time again how good they are as a team, and how when both of those guards are firing, and then their big man is playing good defensive ball, and at times coming through offensively, even if it's like not for amazing shots or anything, but just commanding a presence in the paint, which he's done a good job on. The Suns just have looked dominant from beginning to end. And the only time they did it is when Chris Paul had had these little injuries, and he's stepped in and out a couple times with the COVID thing. That's the only time they haven't looked dominant against a lot of these teams. Now, granted, everyone they've played has kind of had, their problems with injuries as well. No Kawhi, no AD. But with that said, they've still looked dominant against everybody. So they've got a ton of confidence. But I'm surprised that they made it this year. But after looking at how they had to get there, like the teams they played and with the injuries, I'm not surprised at this point. I just wouldn't have guessed it.
All right, Kevin, how surprised are you?
I'm not really surprised. This was the one team that took what they did in the bubble. The bubble brought this team out of every other team that was in the bubble. They brought this team closer together. They went on that run in the bubble, and then they added Chris Paul. So you're taking a team that was already running high off of what they did when they got into the bubble and built that team chemistry, and then you added one of the greatest leaders in NBA history in Chris Paul to a team that was already clicking. Then I'm not really surprised that they made it this far. They've been playing well throughout the season. The reason people are surprised is because it's everybody on the West Coast just now noticing how good the Phoenix Suns are. That's the reason people think it's a surprise, is because we wasn't used to seeing them at all over here. So I'm not surprised.
Awesome. We're gonna dive into our predictions. I just want to say, I fell in love with basketball watching the Phoenix Suns in the early '90s, and after they traded Charles Barkley, I left. I was like, I'm not fucking with this team anymore. So I have a little special place in my heart for what they're doing right now. Seeing Chris Paul finally knocking on the door of being an all-time great is a good feeling because, and I told Bryce about this the other day. He asked me, who do I see of this generation not winning the championship? And I'm pretty sure I named Carmelo and named Chris Paul. So if Chris Paul can overcome that, that'd be great. Kudos to him. Phoenix is big. DeAndre Ayton is a throwback. He's not flashy, but with those baby hook shots in the post, he even has a turnaround jumper. He has a kind of like a baseline jumper. That kid is skilled. And he's only, 23, 24. This team is dangerously young outside of Chris Paul. They may be around for a long time, a very long time. Bryce, I'm going to start with you first on this one. Pick the series. Who you got?
Phoenix in 6, or and some of that would depend on, I guess, Giannis, if whether or not he'll play. But I think even if he plays, Phoenix in 6.
All right, Kev, what you got?
I already said it last night.
And I told you not to spoil it, but you didn't say how many games. Damn it, give me games.
It's Suns in 6. I just think they're better, and Milwaukee's going to go through those spurts where they jack up all these threes and they throw up a lot of bricks, and it's not going to work against Phoenix. You got lucky with Trey going down. So when you were throwing up bricks late in the fourth quarter last night, they didn't have that guy that can come in and snap off those quick points to make it a real tight game. But Phoenix right now is playing on all cylinders. I don't care if they play teams and people were injured and all that junk. Hey, guess what? Everybody that's been in these playoffs have played teams that have had to play through an injury and make it through. So the injury bug's no excuse. Let's just let's get it on. And you were talking about Ayton earlier as being, he kind of reminds me of Patrick Ewing
Oh God,
almost,
yes.
with that mid-range jumper, the little mid-range
Mm-hmm.
hook, plays defense very well, and he's got that little throwback Patrick Ewing-esque game. So
Yeah.
I like Phoenix.
I'm going with Phoenix in 5. I'm not even going to give Milwaukee 2 games. I'm going with Phoenix in 5. Their mid range game is the best I've seen in years. As Kevin said, Chris Paul is the greatest leader we've seen in basketball in the last few years, which started actually last season in OKC and then transferred over to this season. Um, and then Devin Booker is an absolute stud, and I guarantee he's going to shoot better in this series than he did in the last series. So I got Phoenix in 5. Looks like we got Phoenix with a clean sweep of the Bucks between the 3 of us.
If Cortez,
Bryce,
he would have took Milwaukee probably.
probably because Cortez is anti-Cam, so yeah.
No, he's on the Milwaukee kick. So yeah, he's on the Milwaukee kick. So I'm just gonna let him go probably tomorrow whenever we do ours. I'm gonna let
Look,
him go, but I'm gonna let him go on the key to the Bucks. And I'll tell you right now, the key to the Bucks doing absolutely anything in this series. Well, there's 2 keys. One, Brook Lopez drawing out Ayton, getting him out of the paint, making his defense null and void, and him actually knocking them jump shots. And 2 is their second man playing better than their first man, and Chris Middleton playing like he did in the third quarter last night. That's going to be their big gigantic teeth. I can't keep saying it enough. When your second superstar or star is playing well, those are the guys that run the team. Those are the guys that when they're playing well, nobody's going to beat you. I don't care what the first guy does. The first guy can go all out. You have to have that second guy doing well. And that's going to be the key to Milwaukee. If they don't get Chris Middleton going well, then they're screwed.
Yeah. Well, Phoenix has some young wings out there, so we'll see, particularly with Bridges and Cam Johnson. So I think they might be able to slow Middleton down slightly. Kevin, let me ask you one more question about the Bucks.
Alien
This is
looking at. Oh, sorry.
Me and Bryce kind of touched on this a little bit last week. Have you ever seen
Did he
the
look like
number?
an alien? He looks way
No,
like an
no.
alien. Oh,
Have you ever seen a number 2 guy be the number 1 option in the fourth quarter before the championship team? Have you ever seen that? Because I can't recall
yeah.
seeing that.
Yes. Miami.
And who would that be? Are you talking about Wade?
Wade took the last shots. LeBron never took the last shot. And when LeBron took the last shots, he threw up a brick and they had to get rebounded and then shot by Ray Allen.
Outside of Miami, because my heart won't let me say that LeBron was number 1 and Wade was number 2.
I will say it, and I will say I ain't scared. I ain't scared. Milwaukee's going to do it because Giannis can't shoot. He can't shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia's done it to a certain extent because Joel Embiid don't take the last shot in the game. It's either Tobias Harris or somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because they double Embiid, so Embiid ain't going to take the last shot, and especially if it's a 3-pointer. Tobias Harris was taking them. There's a whole bunch of teams where the second and third options are taking the last shot.
Well, not taking the last shot. I'm talking about taking these shots in the fourth quarter, being the go-to guy in the fourth quarter. I'm not talking about the last shot. They feed Chris.
There's a ton of them.
Oh, okay.
There's a ton of them where the defense takes the ball. It takes the balls out of the first guy's hand, and the first guy don't even try to get to the ball. We're talking to a new age in basketball. These number one options, once they start getting double teamed, or once the defense starts drawing to them, they automatically kick the ball to somebody else. They don't want to take the shot. They don't want to try to take the hard shot over 2 guys. They don't want to take the hard shot driving to the ball driving to the lane and going to the free throw line. These guys don't want to do that no more. It's soft. It happens all the time.
Kevin bringing the heat this morning.
You somebody tell me I'm literally lying.
Bryce, how do you? Oh, go ahead.
And then I'll shut up. But it's soft. So yeah, there's plenty of teams where the first guy offers up the other shots to the other guy.
How you feel about that, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Is like we were trying to think about it the other day, and I don't know, maybe a little bit of tunnel vision or something, but you're, too much focus on the Milwaukee Bucks situation. But Kevin brings up a lot of good points there. It's some of these good 1-2 teams that depending on what's going on, I feel like you do see that a little bit more now. But even back in the day, there was more than I guess we were thinking of when we were talking the other day. But it's just it's hard. It's like funny to think about when you're talking about down the stretch or important moments, and then your go-to guy is like just a distraction at that point, or you're not forcing it to him. I guess it depends on the attitude of that player, like them demanding the ball. Like Kobe would demand the ball. No one's going to say no to that. But they had Shaq as well, so it's like at times Shaq would just they defer to Kobe for everything, and it's just.
But they didn't go. But they didn't go to Shaq in the fourth quarter because if he got hacked, he was going to throw up bricks.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's just like even with those two is a perfect example of what we're talking about. How even though they're both great, it's you utilize them at certain parts of the games differently. So it's like you don't send it in the fourth because he's just going to get hacked the whole time.
No, it's situational, and let's not mess it up. Shaq got a lot of touches in the fourth quarter. Shaq would draw the defense in. That's a little different than how Milwaukee plays it. Milwaukee hides Giannis in the fourth quarter. Sometimes he doesn't even touch the ball. So there's a difference there. Kobe was able to get open looks off of Shaq. Wade and LeBron was able to play off of each other where one would get open or the other would get open. With Milwaukee, they hide Giannis offensively.
Oh God, yeah. Because one, he can't shoot. He cannot shoot. Him and Ben Simmons are almost the same guy, except when Giannis goes to the hole, he don't care if he gets fouled or not because he's not embarrassed by taking 37 minutes at the free throw line and throwing up the air ball. It don't get into
It's almost like in the fourth, instead of being complimentary though, at that point, they're almost like some of those guys like he's a a negative. Like he's pulling the talent down.
What some of these guys become during the fourth quarter is what I like to call space takers. They take up a certain space to bring a guy out. That way the other guy can do what he needs to go and do. Mm-hmm. Giannis runs to the 3-point line. Chris Middleton gets the ball. Everybody knows Giannis ain't going to shoot the 3-pointer unless he's like sick. So that opens up the floor for Middleton to drive in, go up to the free throw line, shoot a mid-range jump shot.
Right.
There's superstars in the game today, but there aren't superstars in the game today. You know what I'm saying? There's guys that we make out to be these great basketball players, but they all have flaws. They all have a part in their game to where you go, you know what? I don't want him playing right now. Ben Simmons, perfect example, went from being everybody's God's gift to everything to now no one wants to trade for him because he can't shoot. Mm-hmm. Giannis is everybody's got gift because he can just run into the hole and knock people over, but he can't shoot.
Right.
People are going to start judging nowadays, especially people are going to judge guys whether you can shoot from the free throw line to the 3-point line or not. That's all anybody is going to care about sooner or later. And some of these superstar guys are going to start getting that bad beat because they can't shoot a basketball. And they're getting bailed out, and they're getting bailed out by their number 2 or number 3 guys that can shoot a basketball.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the difference in the series because Middleton and Holiday can give you a mid-range jumper, where the starting 5 of Phoenix can give you a mid-range jumper. So I think that's going to be the difference in this series.
All of Phoenix can give you a mid-range jumper, and they can play on the wings.
Right.
Jay Crowder is just as important to that team as Chris Paul is.
Mm-hmm.
The signing of Crowder is just as important as that Chris Paul signing because of what he provides on the defensive end of the floor and the shots that he can make because he's been there before.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
That was a huge signing for them.
Yeah, and I hated that we couldn't pay him. Really quick to wrap this up.
We could have paid him. No, we could have paid him. They just were stupid and went another route.
No, they shouldn't have gone that route. They should have paid the man.
No, they should have paid him because he wanted to stay. Now he looks like a damn genius for leaving.
Two things to wrap it up this week. First, Bryce, did you see where Steve Clifford said that the Magic's priority wasn't winning and that's why he left?
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that too, Kevin?
I'm shocked. Orlando's priority wasn't winning. I'm absolutely shocked at that. By the way, that's all sarcastic.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's really horrible. And then the last thing I will say, the Sixers did turn down one trade for Ben Simmons, where the Pacers called and offered Malcolm Brogdon in the draft pick for Ben Simmons, and the Sixers turned it down. So even if they would have made the trade, they would have had Brogdon's a good point guard. I'm a huge fan of his. That's not a bad trade. I'm surprised they turned that down. What do you think about that, Kevin?
Well, they turned it down because they think Ben Simmons. They still think they can do something with him. It's all in Ben Simmons' head right now. Ben Simmons needs a change of scenery, and he needs somebody to build his confidence back up because his confidence is shot. And the bad part is being in Philadelphia with a shot confidence is not a good place to be.
Yeah, they're going to rip them apart.
Because people in Philadelphia will drag your confidence down till you have zero at all and you're out of the league.
Mm-hmm. Bryce, Ben Simmons just bought a $17.1 million mansion in Los Angeles. Do you think he's angling to play with LeBron James?
I mean, maybe. I don't think so. He should just, hope he still has a professional job for a long time and worry about spending all that on a new house.
Well, LeBron's been one of his mentors for a long time, so that's why I kind of raised eyebrows. Like, why would you buy that? What's up, Kevin?
I said, no wonder he can't shoot.
I think Kendall Jenner said he can't shoot either. That's why she got with Devin Booker. I had to get that one in. All right, Bryce, this is the very last question.
From deep?
Huh?
He couldn't hit it from deep?
He passed on a dunk.
Yeah.
He don't like sticking his nose into those tough places.
Look, he didn't go to the paint hard enough.
Yeah, he don't put his nose in there enough. He didn't get in there.
All right, Bryce, absolute last question because I know you're working and you gotta run.
You gotta slam it. You gotta slam it home. Oh.
LeBron was caught with Damian Lillard the other day, whining and dining him at a WNBA game. Do you think Dame's trying to get to Los Angeles?
I don't know. There's everything about everything that he's done in his career hasn't really led to him trying to do things like that, even though he's always hanging out with these guys in the off season. A lot of these guys do these things like this. So they're always talking regardless of the situation. So it's not surprising or anything, but this is a question that, these things pop up every off season. So he very well could, or he, might stay there. I mean, at this point, every time I think he should leave, he stays. So I mean, I know he's getting fed up, but you just don't know how loyal he's going to be for We'll just have to wait and see. But I don't think him hanging out with LeBron means anything. I don't think Ben Simmons buying a house in California means anything really either.
Well, it's the price of the house. That's if it was like a $1 million house, yeah, it's probably a rental home. But for $17 million, that's probably going to be your primary residence. So that's why it kind of jumped out in people's mind.
He's going to rent it out.
That's yeah. That's a pretty big price tag for a rental, right?
He's going to do what Jeter did. Just rent it out. Whatever quarterback wants to come to one of the LA teams, and then you can rent out. You can rent it out for a year or two. Because Jeter, that was down in Tampa. So
that's going to be it for this week's episode rather of the Hardwood Nations podcast. We have a clean sweep for Phoenix. Kevin, tell them where to reach at, brother.
Kevin C 2415, and I don't know if everybody heard, but probably tomorrow is going to be the return of the Balls in Your Court podcast.
So, breaking news. You heard it first here. Breaking news. They're coming back. They're going to be better than ever.
With the finals starting on Tuesday, it would only make sense that we do the final preview tomorrow. So be on the lookout. We're definitely coming back. Cortez released a weird video where he was doing Darth Vader or something. And I was on the telephone asking him, what is he talking about? Because I couldn't understand what he was saying. So, but yeah,
you got to send me that video.
You guys have been wanting to come back for a while and just trying to figure everything out.
Nah, Cortez was. It was. I let him have his space. I let him do what he needed to do. And now with the finals come up, the funny part is once we start the episode, he doesn't know this yet, and he probably won't listen, so I can say it. Is when we start back up, I'm going to be welcome to the 2020 NBA Finals preview for the Los Angeles Lakers.
No, well, I mean, they won. The Lakers won, so I mean,
Yes.
know.
It'll be good to be coming back, especially to have us going at it again. I know he was supposed to reach out to someone that's on this podcast that isn't a white guy. So,
oh, no, it's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So I knew he's reaching out to somebody. I expect
it from a Magic. I expect that from a Magic fan. It's cool.
We a lot of things from the Magic fan, but it never pans out. So it's normal.
So really quick, you guys can follow the Hardwood Nation on Twitter at Hardwood Nation. Check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Hardwood Nation and we'll come up. Of course, we're on Instagram, Discord, and TikTok at the Hardwood Nation.
You can't say that.
I can't say it. They will not demonetize me for saying the Hardwood Nation.
You can't say type in Hardwood and we'll come up.
It's not a good look.
There's something that, oh my goodness. Oh,
look, maybe Ben Simmons needs to type in Hardwood and see what comes up.
No, if she wants to, she can type it in.
There's your invite, Kendall. That's your invite.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. All right, everyone. We will see you guys next week.